Okay, today we're going to fix a dual Vic game board, and you can see, well maybe you can't see too well, but this game is actually really, both these game boards that I have from the same person are really dusty and dirty. And normally I don't clean game boards, but they're so dusty that it's going to, I have to clean it because I have to take any measurements or do any soldering. I'm going to need to have them cleaned. They're just going to get in the way. It's not actually stuck on dirt, it's just heavily dusted. So what I usually do is I spray them down with some simple green or some just generic cleaner, and then I rinse them off with a hose. Now in this video you'll see that I forgot that they were literally doing work on my plumbing and I didn't have any water, so I just used a spray bottle that I had full of water. But that's what I'll do, put them out in the sun, spray them down. You'll notice I use a little paintbrush to just, basically I paint over them. There's no paint on the paintbrush, but I use that to loosen up the dirt, and then I rinse it off, and then just lay it sit in the sun. Today it was like 95 degrees out, very sunny, so I said let them sit out there for a couple hours, and they're, you don't want to power them on if they're wet. You can use a hair dryer, things like that, but usually if you sit them out in direct sunlight, warm direct sunlight, it won't be a problem. So here we have another board. And you can see this one is now clean. I cleaned it off, and hopefully I'll put the picture of the how it was dirty before. Alright, and this one is doing this. Okay, you got about 14 white and 14 black lines across the screen. Okay, so it's not working. And so what's the first things we test? Well, we test the voltage. So hopefully we'll zoom in here. Okay. Now, and hopefully you can see the display. There we go. So this one is a dual Vic board, and this one does require that you test more than just +5. So we're going to test at the RAM because the RAM requires that. Okay, so ground point, hopefully you can see. We'll move it over a little bit more. Nope. Move this over a little bit more. Yeah. So over here we have ground. Okay, just put there, and the top corner, that is ground. Top corner of the RAM, pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, pin 16, that's ground, so that should be 0. Bottom right corner is +5, and we got 5.1. The other side, bottom left corner is +12, we have that. And the top, pin number 1, should be -5. So our voltages are good, right? Done with that. I'm going to put the multimeter away. So the next thing we check is the clock signal, and that's going to be pin 6 on the Z80 CPU. And I'm just going to try to zoom in here so you can see the clock. Okay. So I get my oscilloscope out, put it on the ground pin, and pin 6 on the CPU. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Dial it in a bit. Alright, what do we got going on here? Oh. My trigger's not. There we go. Trigger is there. Alright, so we got good frequency here. Is about 2 megahertz. Good. Normally we check reset, but Dual Vic doesn't have a reset. But we're gonna do it anyway. It's pin, it's 6 up from the bottom of the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just want to make sure it's not stuck. 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me double check that. Got my pod here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is pin 6. It looks like it's in reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that shouldn't be happening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you know what? Yes, that should be. Forgot this is a dual Vic game. And if you're hooking a switcher up, dual Vic up to a switcher, it's gonna be resetting. So that, you know, is a problem. So we got to put this bad boy in here. This is a it stops it stops it from being stuck low. Okay. So now we should have, you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're high. I will take it down low real quick. It does go down low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Game's still not working. Okay. We did need that because, again, with the dual Vic games on a switcher, it's looking for a AC power source, and it's gonna keep the reset pin low until it gets that. So good thing to remember, because you'll never be able to fix one of these unless you isolate that. I made this little adapter board, which just lets me put a Z80 CPU in here. Where is it? Can you see it? Basically, just lets me put a Z80 CPU in there, and it's got a. Let's see if I can zoom out here. It's just got a push button, so I can put my Z80 in there. It isolates the reset signal, so it ignores what's actually on the board, and then I can trigger it myself with that. Okay. Nothing changes. All right. So we got the +5 checked out. We got the clock test checked out. Now we got to do the Fluke. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put our Fluke in. So we're just putting this socket in here because I don't want to stretch the pins. This will stretch the pins on these dual Vic boards. So I just put a donor socket on there. All right. Power it up. And let's see what we got. So we do set active force line to no, bus test okay. Okay. Now I'm going to do a RAM check. The RAM range is, I'm going to do a RAM short. It's 8000 to 8FFF. And you can see as I do that, it's actually redrawing the screen. No, I didn't catch it fast enough so you could see it, but it actually redraws the screen. Because it actually wrote to video memory. And we'll make sure that works. And usually on these dual Vics, the RAM is the issue, but I don't think the RAM's the issue on this. Okay, you can see actually it's redrawing the stuff again because it's doing the RAM test, and part of that RAM test is actually writing the video RAM so you see the results of what it's doing. Okay. And I'm just going to turn this off or pause it until it's done, and so we don't have to sit here forever. Okay, it's done. So the RAM's good, the clock's good, reset signal's not turned low. The next thing we have to do is look at the ROMs. Okay, so let's do a ROM test. These ROMs, you can see, are labeled. Okay, there it is, 282B. I've looked that up. Okay, and that is head-on Invinco. Okay, it's the dual Vic head-on Invinco game board. So what I've done here is I pulled some of the ROM images, and the first ROM image we'll test, because I'm just going to test. I'm going to test to see if any, how they work. Is 271B at U33, which is addresses 0, 2, 3, FF, and the signature should be 9162. And where did I get that? I took the ROMs and I just put that into the ROM ident webpage, which will spit out what the Fluke signature is. And you can see it's not. All right, so let's just, maybe that ROM is bad. Let's go to another one. So the next one is 272B at 400 to 7FF. And its signature is A242. That's what it should be. And it says that's a ROM error. Okay? That's not the right signature. So I'm just going to skip to another one in a completely different section. The last one. 286B at U1, which should be address 3C00 to 3FFF. Signature should be C207. Because it's very rare you get all these ROM errors. You know, the first one didn't work. Okay, maybe that ROM was bad. The second one didn't work. So, oops. And that was bad too. I hit the wrong button there, but that was bad too. So we have a conundrum here. It's very rare that ROMs go bad. However, these are really old ROMs that have triple power supplies, and if the power supply got out of whack, it could have fried all of them. This is, so it's possible. This is a difficult situation because these are 2708s, which I don't have the equipment to read. You have to have very expensive or very old equipment to read or write these. So I can't just pull them and test them to see if the ROMs got fried or if there's something in the circuitry between the ROMs and the CPU that's causing them all to not read right. So, which would be my normal assumption is that somewhere the circuit that controls this is not working. The circuits. We know the RAM is good, and there's actually very little on this board between. So if the RAM is good, there's only a few things that could be bad that would affect all the ROMs. There's a buffer chip, 2 buffer chips, and there's some control circuitry to turn them on. Normally, again, I would just pull the ROMs and see if they're bad at this point. But I can't do that easily. So what I'm going to do is something a little different. I've designed this little board here that you can see. This lets me replace basically any 24-pin ROM EPROM with a 27512. So I'm gonna, and I can replace 2708. So I'm gonna put in a known image. I'm gonna pull out all these ROMs. I'm gonna put in a known good image and see if it reads okay with that. So I'm not testing the ROMs because I can't test them, and this won't let me read it. This adapter won't let me read the ROMs. But what I'm doing is I'm testing to see if the circuitry between the ROMs and the rest of the game board might be broken. If it's broken, putting a known good ROM in there, it's gonna read bad. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. So I'm gonna pause while I pull out all those chips. I want to pull out all those chips to make sure those guys aren't, if they're bad, they could be doing stuff, trying to talk while the good chip is talking. So I'm going to just pull them all off. Okay, so I pulled all those chips off, and now I'm going to just program this ROM with the image that should be in one of those sockets. With the valid 2708 image that should be one of those sockets. So I've got a 27512. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here, burn it. We're going to set it, it's already set to 27512. Open, and I'm just going to pull, I downloaded the ROMs for this game. Invinco head on 2. And I'm going to just put, let's choose what should be in socket U1. Okay. And auto mode. Oops, I forgot to erase this one. So let's erase it. Auto mode. Okay. Good. So that was 286B. And we can put that in U1 once we insert it into our adapter. So I'm going to insert into my adapter here. Put it in U1. And now I'm going to try to read it. Okay. So we've pulled all the other chips out. Put that one in there. This should read fine as a 2708. It's already got the circuitry, so even though the size is completely wrong, you know, this is 27512. The adapter handles everything else, and then we'll read it and see what happens. Okay, so ROM, and the range for that one was 3C00 to 3FFF. The signature should be C207. So this should hopefully tell us. Okay, and that read okay. So we now are pretty sure that it's the circuitry here is okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to install my one of my dual VIC replacement boards, if I have one. Thought I had one. That lets me put all the ROMs just on a board and do that. What I might do is once we test this, I may actually strap this, because these boards can be configured to use 2708s, and the manual says they have jumper settings to do 2716s and 2732s. So I'm going to actually see if we can do that. But first, let's see if we can get this thing to boot at all. So I'm going to take this out. I've got something on here. I don't even know what this is. So I'm going to reprogram it to just use the Carnival ROMs, which I think it might already be Carnival. So I'll just plug it in and see if it works. Hopefully it will. We'll see. We get another donor. You know what? No, we're not. I'm just gonna. If I need to replace the socket, I'm just gonna replace the socket for the. Because this socket probably could be replaced anyway. All right. Oops, forgot I need my little reset board. Got my little reset board here. Put that guy in here. And again, this is not the Invinco head-on ROMs, this is the Carnival ROMs, but it will still work just the same. I mean, something will happen. Okay, so let's see what happens. Reset it, hit my reset button. And look at that. Games looks like it's working. So the issue was actually ROMs. I don't know whether it was clearly not the ROM control circuitry. It could have been that all the ROMs got fried by some bad voltage. Okay, again, because that usually doesn't happen. But these are tri-voltage ROMs. Very rare do you see that. These are ancient. And they had to have all the voltages. It's possible that the power supply for this game went bad and just fried them all. It's also possible that just one of them went bad, and that it is activating itself basically when it should be silent. That's a possibility. It could be that all of them are bad. It could have been that one of them is bad. Without being able to actually test the ROMs individually, I can't do that. I don't have the equipment. This GQ4X does everything but that I need except for these 2708s. But it's very rare that I ever see a 2708. The only games that use them are these dual VICs, and that's why I invented this adapter, because you know they're hard to find. The equipment is is expensive. If you have to buy either really expensive equipment or really old equipment. And I don't like the old equipment. I like the small tiny little thing I can put on my desktop and that runs whatever, Windows 10. All right, so yeah, that's the video. I'm thinking that maybe for the next video I will actually show you how to strap these boards. I've never done it before. I just noticed in the manual today when I was looking to use 2732, so we only need 4 of those, and then we don't need it. We can, we don't need that adapter board. But hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I want to thank my Patreon supporters who allow me to do this. If you're not a Patreon supporter, please consider becoming one. You can give $1 or $3. $3 would be more appreciated because between PayPal or whoever in Patreon, they eat. If you give me $1, they eat like more than 50% of it. Give a couple bucks, I appreciate it, and it helps me justify my very limited time to make these videos. I enjoy making these videos and teaching you guys things, but I do have a lot of going on in life, so it's hard for me to justify sitting down and spending the time to do this. But that helps out, and it shows that people actually are interested. So if you're not a supporter, please become one. If you are, thank you very much for your support.